Marcus is on a first date with a woman named Sarah, there at dinner. And Sarah is nervous in that particular way people are nervous on first dates, trying to make conversation, hoping to create connection. She tells Marcus about a recent accomplishment at her job, and it's clear she's proud of it, looking for that basic human exchange of mutual recognition and support. Marcus's ego processes the information she's sharing. His conscious mind analyzes the objective impressiveness of her accomplishment relative to industry standards, and his mouth reports the finding. That's not particularly impressive. Lots of people in your field accomplish that. He's being factually accurate. He's also destroying any possibility of a second date. Sarah's expression shifts from hopeful to hurt to closed off. She makes an excuse about not feeling well and leaves 20 minutes later. Marcus is confused. He was honest, engaged, attentive. What went wrong? He has no persona to explain that Sarah wasn't seeking objective evaluation of her accomplishment. She was seeking emotional connection. And emotional connection requires social grace that Marcus's isolated ego cannot provide. Over the past 5 years, Marcus has been on dozens of first dates. None have led to second dates. Women describe him as weird, inappropriate, too intense, socially off. What they're detecting is the absence of a persona, that adaptive layer that modulates raw conscious experience into socially appropriate expression. They're encountering pure ego, and it feels alien and uncomfortable. Marcus does eventually find someone willing to date him. Amy is attracted to what she initially perceives as radical honesty and authenticity. She's dated men who seemed fake, and Marcus seems refreshingly real. But after 8 months, Amy is reaching her breaking point. She's discovering that living with pure ego is psychologically exhausting for the partner. Last night, Amy tried on a dress she was excited about and asked Marcus what he thought. His ego processed the visual information and reported, "The color washes you out, and it's too tight in the wrong places." Amy felt wounded, but Marcus was confused. She asked for his opinion. He gave his opinion. What's the problem? He has no persona to explain that intimate partners need emotional attunement, not just accurate perception. Later that same evening, they were having sex. Afterwards, Amy asked if Marcus was enjoying their intimate life. His ego, in its relentless commitment to unfiltered truth, reported, "Not particularly. You seem distracted lately." These ruthlessly honest assessments are destroying the relationship, and Marcus genuinely doesn't understand why. Researchers studying intimate relationships have identified that successful partnerships require what they call emotional labor, the work of managing your own emotions and responses to create a safe emotional space for your partner. This emotional labor requires a persona. You need to be able to filter your raw reactions, to choose which truths to express and how to express them, to prioritize your partner's emotional well-being alongside factual accuracy. Marcus has no persona to perform this labor. He just has his ego, relentlessly perceiving and reporting without any adaptive mediation. Amy eventually ends the relationship, trying to explain that she needs someone who can be tactful, who can read emotional context, who knows when to be gentle. Marcus hears this as, "I need someone who will lie to me." He thinks his honesty is a virtue that others are too weak to handle. What he doesn't realize is that he's psychologically incomplete, missing a crucial structure that makes intimate relationship possible. Marcus attends a funeral for his colleague's mother. He didn't know the woman who died, never met her, has no authentic grief about her passing. When his colleague thanks him for coming to the service, Marcus's ego processes this social interaction and produces an honest response. I didn't really want to come, but it seemed like I should. The colleague's face crumples. Other mourners overhear and look shocked. Marcus is confused yet again. He did come to the funeral, didn't he? He fulfilled the social obligation. Why is everyone upset? He has no persona to explain that funeral attendance is a social ritual where the performance of support matters more than the authenticity of personal grief. People say, of course, I'm so sorry for your loss, not because it's factually true that they wanted to be there, but because the persona understands the function of the ritual. Watch Marcus at his sister's wedding reception. Someone asks him what he thought of the ceremony. His ego produces a conscious assessment, and his mouth delivers it unfiltered. The vows were logically inconsistent. Marriage has a 50% divorce rate, and I think my brother-in-law is adequate but not particularly special. These are his honest, conscious thoughts. They're also social grenades that explode his family relationships. His sister stopped speaking to him for 6 months after the wedding. Marcus is wounded and baffled. He was just being honest. What's wrong with honesty? He has no persona to explain that family relationships require diplomatic filtering, that weddings are emotionally significant rituals where supportive performance matters more than brutal assessment, that maintaining relationships requires knowing which truths to vocalize and which to keep to yourself. Anthropologists studying social rituals across cultures have identified that all human societies have developed complex systems of polite fictions, diplomatic communications, and social performances that maintain group cohesion. These systems require a persona to implement. You need that adaptive layer that knows when to perform enthusiasm you don't feel, express condolences that aren't personally authentic, offer compliments that smooth social interaction regardless of objective truth. Marcus has none of this capacity. He attends his nephew's elementary school play and tells the child afterwards that the performance was pretty bad, but you'll probably get better with practice. The child is devastated. His sister is furious. Marcus is confused. He was encouraging, wasn't he? He acknowledged potential for improvement. He has no persona to tell him that 6-year-olds need unconditional praise after school plays. That social context determines appropriate response. That truth must be filtered through awareness of emotional impact. The pattern repeats endlessly. Marcus is invited to fewer and fewer social events. Family members stop telling him about important life events. Colleagues avoid him in the hallways. He's becoming socially isolated, and from his perspective, it's because other people can't handle honesty. From everyone else's perspective, it's because interacting with Marcus feels like being emotionally assaulted by someone who has no awareness they're doing it. Marcus is in a meeting with his company's CEO and the entire board of directors. His role is to present a technical analysis of a proposed strategic direction. His analysis reveals significant flaws in the CEO's plan. A person with a functioning persona would find a way to present this information diplomatically. They might request a private meeting to discuss concerns. They might frame criticisms as collaborative problem-solving. They might preserve the CEO's dignity while still being honest about the issues. Marcus's ego has processed the data, reached a conclusion, and when invited to present, simply reports that conclusion without any social filtering. This strategic plan is unrealistic, bordering on delusional. The projections don't match market realities, and implementing this would likely result in significant losses. He's factually correct. He's also just ended his career. The room goes silent. The CEO's face hardens. Board members exchange glances. Marcus is escorted out of the meeting, and by the end of the day, he's been terminated for gross insubordination. This is his fourth job loss in 5 years, and the pattern is always identical. Starts with technical competence, proceeds to social alienation, ends with termination for culture fit issues. Marcus sits in his apartment, unemployed once again, bitter about workplace politics that keep derailing his career. He thinks the problem is that organizations can't handle truth-tellers, that everyone else is playing fake political games, while he's the only honest one. What he doesn't recognize is that he's missing a psychological structure essential for functioning in any human organization. Organizational psychologists studying workplace dynamics have identified that professional success requires more than just technical competence. It requires social intelligence, political awareness, and the ability to deliver difficult truths in ways that people can actually hear and act on. All of these capabilities require a persona. You need to be able to assess power dynamics, choose appropriate timing, frame criticism constructively, and maintain relationships even while disagreeing. Marcus has his ego producing accurate, conscious assessments. But those assessments are useless if they're delivered in ways that make people unable to hear them. He's like a surgeon with perfect diagnostic ability, but absolutely no bedside manner. The diagnosis might be correct, but the patient is too traumatized by the delivery to benefit from it. His therapist has been trying to help him develop what she calls social skills, but the problem runs deeper than skills. Skills can be taught when you have the underlying psychological structure to implement them. Marcus is missing that structure. He can memorize phrases like, "I appreciate your perspective," and that's an interesting point. But when he deploys them, they sound robotic and insincere because there's no genuine persona behind them. Just his ego, pretending to be something it's not.